Hi everyone. This is just a very nice way to share some of my music, and in a lot of my works have been inspired by nature. I mean, in no way I'm a expert in this kind of things, but I find a lot of inspiration from processes of the nature, like like the water cycle, like the weather and things like that. So um, that's why I thought this was a perfect chance to share some of this work that has this relationship to the environment and nature. So this was the abstract that I submitted, and just going to share some of these works here. Um, Especially this piano solo piece was specifically written to raise awareness for climate change, which is I realized there was these themes that arise from some of these compositions, this output that of recent years. One is of climate, environment, nature, and then there's the poetry that relates to environment and nature. And thirdly, how does this themes of nature relate to identity and culture? So this is a work commissioned by Lior Willinger, my friend from Peabody. And he had this project that commissioned 10 pieces, 10 piano pieces, for different sorts of social awareness. And when he contacted me, he thought, already at that time, 2017 or 18, I had quite a few pieces that were inspired by nature. So he thought, this theme of climate change might be a nice fit. So at that time there was this strange cool weather in Singapore. If you've been to Singapore, it's super hot and humid. Usually it's in the 30s Celsius, right? Degrees Celsius, and so there was this monsoon surge at about this time, December, January, in 2018, and just kind of play this video so we get a sense of what is a monsoon surge and what it does to the temperature. Yeah, and that's Singapore there, and the little dot. So for Singaporeans, this is pretty drastic to have this kind of cool weather where you can take out your sweater. I mean, put on your sweater and really feel cool and chilly in this scorching hot weather, equatorial latitude of Singapore. And this was the piece that came out of that idea. And in different sections, I have written music that is about the humid nature, about the scorching nature of the weather, and then as well as this monsoon surge, which was really uncharacteristically chilly. And this is your Willinger. And through the use of pedal, or from a musician's point of view, this sense of wetness could be created as opposed to less pedal, which can sound more dry. And this was the scorching section where, if you've been to Singapore again, you can really feel that the heat from the sun. And I used or in the score, at least less pedal and more this dry effect to simulate or to express that through music. In this final section, it's where this musical expression here, chilly and transient. This is the part where it refers to this monsoon surge, which is pretty unusual in Singapore. And musically, it turns out to be this really transparent and really quiet, using this wide range of pitches, right, from the highest to the lowest range of the piano. All right. So and also that there's this some reference to like the slowness of these clouds shifting, and of course this just a musical inspiration from nature, where you know there's things moving in the sky, and of course we'll hear more of that. A little bit of a reference also to Licati, where you know this movement of clouds transforms into musical expression. And so from environment comes the other source of inspiration for musical writing, poems and poetry. So in the past 10 years or so, I have written some works that are informed by or inspired by these poems that has a lot of nature in it. And a lot of these poetic forms has that in the traditions like poetic forms like the haiku, poetic forms like the pantun, the Chinese poetry, all have some sort of relation to nature, at least in the usually in the opening few lines there is reference to nature and then to meaning. So this really inspires me, and in the class that I teach, text and music, that comes out a lot, and I'll talk more about that class in a moment. So Rain Tree was one of my first orchestral works that was played a few times by different orchestras. And this poem I found in an anthology of Singaporean poems, and I thought it was very evocative, and has well for this conference, it has this theme of environment, and this is kind of a common sight. This kind of tree, rain trees. If just walk around in the parks, along the streets, this is one of the most common trees in Singapore. So there is already a hint of that sense of location, sense of even identity through this tree. And in three movements, I've expressed it to kind of depict in a programmatic way three different things. The first movement refers to breeze. All right. In the second movement, excuse me. And the second movement is inspired by rain, well, the rain part of the rain tree. If you've never seen this tree before, it looks like an umbrella, and the leaves are really small. So it looks, I think that's part of how the name came about, rain tree, right? So this movement has a pointillistic texture that mimics rain. All right. So what happens in the orchestra is the first death of the strings, they get basically pizzicato solos, because it's hard to have the whole section play exactly at the same time. So this kind of intimate chamber-like texture, well, it's a way that I create this intimate sound of these raindrops, and for string players, it's kind of a inside joke where the second violinist gets a solo, but only on pizzicato. Anyway, so the third movement um, is a faster moving movement, and it's inspired by leaves, right? These little leaves, and so the notes are very little and um, kind of proliferating, right? To quote the text, quote the poem. Okay, I'm going to play a little bit from the end of second movement, which shows this cycle of this water cycle, right? So it's like from evaporation to condensation and then precipitation. And then the third movement. Okay. And to look at another genre, I mean, still orchestra, but for concerto, where the percussion instruments are being featured, I have found another poem, this time by, at that time he was based in Hong Kong, Eddie Tay. I think he taught at Chinese U. And there was this misprint of this title. Instead of Kitaro's koi, it was like Kirato's koi. So I was very curious what was this person or this character. And then the poet told me actually it's Kitaro. So the poem was inspired by Kitaro's music. And the poet was very humble in the sense that where he was explaining the poem to me, he said it was a failed haiku, right? Usually it's 3 lines, but he said it took 3 triple of the usual to express the whole meaning. So he said it's a failed haiku. Well, anyways, I thought there was a really musical way that he's written this poem, and very nicely coincides with the possibilities of an orchestra, especially a percussion concerto. So I'm gonna play a few moments from this piece, played by the Singapore National Youth Orchestra, and conducted by Darryl Ang. Right, the opening has this flute sound, which you know, is from the first first stanza. marimba that symbolizes the koi. Right, if I move on to the second haiku, this persuasive percussion, I imagined it to sound like this, very strong and relentless. It, and then at the very end, the koi emerges, right? So and finally, there's one last statement by the marimba with the flute again at the end. Just right. And yet in another kind of instrumental composition, there was this poem that's translated from Tamil by KTM Iqbal. I met the poet sometime, well, a few years ago, and this poem, I saw it, and it struck me how this really, just common and just a very ubiquitous thing, water can have so much. Is so simple and it's so common, yet it can be so powerful. Depending on what circumstance we experience this element, right? Okay, it's not element. Anyway, so it's poetically, it could be this beautiful thing like a spring, and it could be rain, it could be the sea, but the part that really struck me was this fourth part of the poem, which is till you exhibited the drowned mounted on your back. So the power to kill, and this was a poem that really struck me at that time. There was this student who drowned at the sea. I think it was along the coast of the Amalfi. So anyway, so I wrote this as a kind of a memoriam to him, and this is the part where the music relates to this part of the text. Yeah, so with that, we catch a glimpse of how this interaction between human and nature, this relationship between nature and and people, and that leads us into identity. This sense of how nature relates to identity, and this is this kind of newspaper article from 1893, describing this new orchid, this new hybrid species of orchid that was a cross between these two types of orchids, Vanda terrace and Vanda hookeriana. And I thought, I was doing my research for this violin concerto I had to write. So I thought this title was perfect because it sounds like Joachim, which is, the dedicatee of Brahms's violin concerto. So this was kind of a perfect theme, and it was written for this SG50, which is 50 years of Singapore's as a republic, right? So I use that as a musical form in counterpoint of the themes. So this is the kind of the first theme, the melodic shape of the first theme, and then you'll see later on the contrasting theme, how it could become a hybrid musically. So taking this idea of this cross of two plants in a hybrid into a musical hybrid. And then the second theme is based on Vanda hookeriana. It's the more lyrical theme. So together, the first theme and the second theme in counterpoint was brought back in the reprise or the recapitulation as a hybrid. So actually in my notes, my sketches, I wrote this part first before taking them apart as the first and the second themes. So in a way, this idea of a hybrid musically was written backwards, right? So we can see that the first theme where there's a step into the leap is in the bottom voice, and then the next theme, the second theme in 4 steps, is in the top voice. So together, it fuses into a hybrid. Right, and the soloist was in an interview, she was like, "This is the first time I play a piece that's inspired by a plant." So anyway, so that is the violin concerto, and afterwards, a few years after that, this year, actually last month, a colleague of mine, Dr. Sarah Lauren, wrote a poem inspired by the music. So we see this process of the creation where nature inspires text, nature inspires music, and then music and text has this which one comes first. So there's this interaction between those different elements. This process is a little bit similar to the processes of nature. Anyway, so we called it Miss Joachim, or the concerto is called Vanda, and the flower is called Vanda Miss Joachim. So I thought it's a nice compliment with the poetic recitation. And I selected this part where she did some research on VANDA, on orchids, and in what circumstances they can grow. It's quite hard to grow them. So this is a nice tidbit of that.
Miss Agnes only lived here, only here, where the sun shines bright, sliding down from Myanmar through Malaysia to Singapore. And the clouds coming down were hanging like clothes in the impending sun. Drops needed to be distilled, instilled as vapor, puddles drained. No stagnant water would be loved by her plants. They loved humid spots, a gust of wind sometimes. The care and love would drain anyone's energy, and she get tired of not making them bloom.
All right, and I should move to my last example.
Miss Agnes.
Which is also a project done with Sarah Florian. This was a collaboration between two of us who co-taught this class, text and music. And the students were asked to write short pieces and take short videos of things that's related to the tank shipwreck. There's this shipwreck that is housed at the Asian Civilizations Museum, where these ceramics were found off the coast of Belitung in Indonesia. So we see the effect of this man versus nature, and the poem that Sarah wrote was Wares, 8 lines of poem, and the music was called Waves. So the project was Wares and Waves. And this is the opening. Oh yeah, sorry, just let me try that again. Yeah, this is the opening where she recites the poem.
Where did the wares in ocean journey go? And cobalt glazed from kiln to ship below.
And interspersing the student works, we had group improvisations called Waves, and this was the structure that we took, where the guzheng tuning was served as this pitch resource, and then the class, which was a group of 30 students, basically a chamber orchestra, improvised on these ideas with these shapes of the waves. And we don't have much time, so I'm going to keep going a little bit more. Show you the part that was played on some of these bowls, and the students used a conch and used some seashells. It's very, very creative music by the students. This is one of the waves improvisation. See a bit of this performed by the class. And again, just thank you for listening to some of these pieces and hear me talk about inspiration of nature in some of my projects and my class. So this is in no way scientific or anything, but it's just from a musician's perspective, how nature serves as a really a great resource for a composer. And thank you for listening. And